Imagine this. Two people walk into the same restaurant on the same night. One of them arrives in a shiny new Mercedes, the kind of car that makes people turn their heads and notice. The other arrives in a 10-year-old Toyota with some scratches on the bumper and a few dents from daily life. The first person orders the most expensive items on the menu, takes photos of everything, and posts them online for everyone to see. The second person quietly orders a simple meal, eats without any fuss, pays the bill, and leaves. Now here is the twist that you cannot see from just watching them. The person with the Mercedes has only $200 in their bank account and $40,000 in credit card debt that keeps growing every month. The person driving the old Toyota has $700,000 invested in index funds and other assets, growing quietly in the background. But if you only looked at their lifestyle, if you only saw what they showed the world, you would probably think the first person was rich and successful. And you would probably think the second person was just average, nothing special, just another person going about their life. This is the strange and confusing world we live in today. A world where looking rich has become more important to many people than actually being rich. A world where the appearance of success is often prioritized over the reality of financial health. And the scary part is that millions of people are falling into this trap without even realizing it, year after year, decade after decade. Today we are going to break down 10 clear signs that someone is pretending to be rich. But more importantly, you will learn how to avoid becoming one of them yourself. Because fake wealth is loud and flashy and demands attention. But real wealth is quiet and calm and does not need applause. Something strange has happened in the last 20 years, something that has changed how people think about money and success. In the past, most people who wanted to be wealthy focused on actually building wealth. They saved money. They invested wisely. They lived below their means. They understood that wealth is built slowly over time. But today, many people focus on something completely different. They focus on looking wealthy. They want to appear successful even if the reality behind the appearance is completely different. Social media made this problem much bigger and much worse. Now everyone is performing for an audience. People carefully curate their online presence to show only the best parts of their lives. They post photos of their vacations, their luxury purchases, their expensive dinners, their cars, their outfits. But they never show the debt. They never show the stress. They never show the loans they took out. They never show the credit card bills piling up at home. What you see online is a highlight reel, not real life. And this creates a dangerous illusion that affects how people think. Because if it looks like everyone else is rich and living an amazing life, you start to feel pressure to look rich too, even if you cannot actually afford it. And that is where the problem really begins. Let us start with the first and most common trap that catches millions of people. Someone buys the cheapest possible version of the most expensive brand. They buy a base model Mercedes with no extra features, just to have the logo on the hood. They buy the smallest designer bag from a famous brand, just to be seen carrying it. They buy a belt with a giant logo, just so people notice the name. They do not actually want the product for its quality or durability. They want the symbol. They want the logo. They want the signal that tells other people, look at me, I am successful. But here is something that most people do not realize. A fully loaded Toyota or Honda, with all the features and options, often costs about the same as a basic entry-level luxury car. But the Toyota usually has more features, lower maintenance costs, better reliability, and cheaper insurance. It is actually a better value in almost every way. But status seekers do not want that. They want the badge. And that decision becomes expensive for many years. Luxury cars cost much more to repair when something breaks. They cost more to insure. They cost more to maintain with special parts and specialized mechanics. And those costs quietly drain money month after month, year after year. Meanwhile, truly wealthy people often drive normal cars for a long time. They understand something simple that status seekers miss. Cars do not make you rich. Investments do. Cars lose value every single year. Investments grow. The next sign of fake wealth is constant money talk. You probably know someone like this. Every single conversation somehow turns into a conversation about money. How much they make. Their business deals. Their amazing investments. Their future plans. Their next big opportunity. You could be talking about pizza, and suddenly they find a way to mention that they used to eat that before they started making real money. You talk about a vacation, and they start explaining their investment strategy. You talk about your day, and they tell you about the deal they are about to close. But there is a pattern here if you pay attention. They talk about money they are about to make, not money they already have. It is always future tense. Next month my deal closes. This investment is about to explode. I am working on something huge that is going to pay off big. Always coming soon. Never here now. Why is that? Because the present reality does not match the image they want to project. Real wealthy people rarely talk like this. They do not need to prove anything to anyone. Their results speak for themselves. They are comfortable with silence. They do not need constant validation from others about their financial status. Here is another warning sign that is very common today. Someone owns expensive luxury items but has almost no actual savings. A $5,000 handbag carried by someone with only $1,000 in the bank. A luxury watch worn by someone with maxed out credit cards. Designer clothes bought on payment plans that stretch for months. This is called lifestyle inflation in action. Instead of building wealth first, they buy the appearance of wealth. But there is a simple rule that many financially successful people follow. If you cannot afford to buy something twice, you probably cannot afford it once. Think about that for a moment. If something costs $1,000 and you have $1,000 in the bank, buying it would leave you with zero. That is not affordability. That is emptying your account for a thing. Real affordability means having enough left over afterward that the purchase does not threaten your security. Because real wealth is about security and freedom, not about appearances. A luxury bag might impress someone for 3 seconds when they see it. But an empty savings account can create years of stress and anxiety. Another clear sign of fake wealth is a constant competition mindset. Whatever you do, they did it bigger. You buy a new watch, and they explain why theirs is more expensive. You go on a vacation, and they went somewhere better. You buy a house, and they say it should have been bigger or in a fancier neighborhood. This behavior reveals something important about what is going on inside. They are not celebrating success, not even their own. They are competing with it. They are comparing. Why does this happen? Because their identity and self-worth depend on appearing more successful than others. But people who are truly secure financially do not feel threatened by other people's success. They can celebrate it. They can be happy for others. They do not need to win every comparison. Social media has made fake wealth easier and more widespread than ever before in human history. Now anyone can look rich online with a little effort. You see photos of luxury hotels and fancy restaurants and expensive shopping. But what you do not see is how any of it was paid for. Some people finance luxury purchases with high-interest debt. Some people rent luxury items just for the photo shoot. Some people even take photos in places they do not actually own or stay in, just to create the illusion. Why does this happen? Because attention online often rewards spending, not discipline. A video titled "Watch Me Spend $2,000 Shopping" gets far more views and likes than a video titled "Watch Me Invest $2,000. But long-term, one of those behaviors creates attention, and the other creates actual wealth. One gets likes today. The other builds freedom for the rest of your life. Let us talk about luxury cars again because they are such a common status symbol. Many people lease luxury cars instead of buying them. Leasing means you are paying for the most expensive years of the car's life, the years when it loses value the fastest. Then you give the car back at the end of the lease. You build zero ownership. You have nothing at the end. Then you just start again with another lease on another car. Month after month. Year after year. Imagine doing this for 20 years. You might spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on lease payments over that time. And at the end, you own nothing. No asset. No equity. No car. Just a stack of receipts. But leasing allows people to drive cars they could not actually afford to buy outright. And that is why it is so popular. It helps people look rich without actually being rich. Another sign of fake wealth is constantly chasing get-rich-quick opportunities. Crypto trading. Day trading stocks. Secret investment systems that promise huge returns. Multi-level marketing schemes. New online business opportunities every year. Some people jump from one thing to another, always chasing the next big thing. Each time they say the same thing. This one is going to change everything. This time is different. But real wealth rarely happens like that. It almost never comes from one big lucky break. It usually comes from slow, consistent investing over many years. That may sound boring compared to crypto trading. But boring strategies often build the biggest wealth over time. There is another interesting pattern worth noticing. Fake wealth tends to be loud. Too many logos all over the clothes. Too many luxury brands visible at once. Too much jewelry. Too many status symbols all competing for attention. Everything is trying to say the same thing. Look how successful I am. But look at many of the world's richest people. On normal days they dress simply. They do not wear logos all over. They do not need to prove anything to strangers. Because when you actually know you are wealthy, you do not need constant validation from people you do not know. At the end of the day, wealth is not really about things at all. It is not about cars or bags or watches or restaurants. Wealth is about freedom. Freedom to choose what work you do. Freedom to take time off when you need it. Freedom to handle emergencies without panic. Freedom to sleep peacefully at night without stress about money. Fake wealth focuses entirely on how things look to other people. Real wealth focuses on how life actually works for you and your family. One path leads to debt and stress and performance. The other path leads to independence and peace. The goal in life is not to look rich. The goal is to build a life where money stops controlling you, where you have options, where you are not trapped by payments and debt. That kind of wealth grows slowly and quietly, year after year. It is not flashy. It does not get likes on social media. But one day you wake up and realize something powerful. You have options that most people only pretend to have. You have freedom they cannot imagine. If this video changed the way you think about money, subscribe to the channel. Here we break down complex financial ideas into simple lessons that anyone can understand, even kids. Because money should not be confusing. It should be a tool that helps you build a better life. And before you go, write this in the comments. Real wealth is quiet. Put it in your own words if you want. But make it real. Because the people who understand that are usually the ones who end up winning the long game. Thanks for watching. And I will see you in the next video.